So I went with no expectations. I'm doing this for fun.
Right. Okay.
And as a learning experience.
Of course.
And they said on the casting call they wanted people over 40. And I'm over 40. So I went in, and when we got there, my husband went with me, and everyone shows up. Young people show up. They bring their kids. You know, everybody shows up. And so, you know, they were letting the people turn in information and fill out paperwork, but they were telling them they would have to leave, you know. And so I thought, you know, my husband said, they're telling everybody to go home. So I thought, okay, they're just taking up paperwork. Well, when I went to turn in my paperwork, they said, we want you to go in that room.
Oh, that's a good sign. Oh, that's got a, he's such a, I can already picture it in my head.
They said, we want you to go in that room. So I go in the room, and Sheila, the assistant casting director, she said, I handed all my stuff to her, and she said, well, I need you to stand here and tell a funny story on tape. Do you have a problem with that? No.
Oh, that's my girl, Carol. You got the guts, the pushback.
This is a great story.
No, I'm not shy, okay?
Ooh.
And so I do, this is kind of funny. I teach very unconventionally. I do stand-up in front of my students.
I can see that.
I've been doing it for 10 years, telling funny stories, because you got to keep them
You got to keep them interested. Otherwise,
do.
forget it. People watching TV, it's so easy to flip the channel. People, they don't get it.
So I'm always telling them funny stories, and they're all true. That's what's real funny. So anyway,
but the way you tell them too, you're special, Carol. You grabbed my attention from the beginning until that little freezer.
I have a real funny brother. Okay, I guess it's in my family.
It's in your genes.
Yes, it is. It's genetic.
It's genetic.
So he has lots of things that happen to him. So I said, okay, I can tell a funny story. Can I tell a funny story about my brother? She said, sure. I told my funny story. She was bending over laughing. She said, Carol, you're #1 of all the people we've seen.
Oh, what a beautiful feeling. Mm-hmm. That's such a beautiful, rewarding feeling.
And I said, well, okay, I have 2 questions. How hard is it to memorize lines?
Right.
And am I too fat?
Oh, how dare you ask? Forget about that. I can't believe it, Carol.
She said no.
No, of course not.
And she said, memorizing lines, you get into it and you say it very naturally, just like you would be talking. And she said, you can do it. And I said, okay. Well, I didn't know for 10 days if I would be, you know, going for a second casting call. I got a call. She said, yes. The director, who is Richard Linklater, he wants to see you. And they had another casting call, this time in Carthage. Okay. And I went, read lines.
A callback. That's what we call a
callback. Yes, that's what it was, a
callback.
Okay. And they had already emailed me some lines. I knew my lines, and I went down there and just kind of talked about myself and, you know, my interest in the story and being from Carthage. But see, he likes the accent.
I love it.
That's
I'm already drunk with your accent. Carol, come on, that's how good you are.
It's real, you know.
Of course it is.
So he liked me, but you still don't know for sure. And so 10 days, it was another 10 days, I got a call from Sheila and said, yes, they definitely want you in the movie. Well, you know, when you don't know, when you don't know you're going to be in a movie, you know, and then here you are, you find out you're going to be in a movie. I told the people that I work with, I said, look, I'm leaving the building. I've got to go and get in my vehicle and go across the street and call my husband because I'm going to scream.
I want to hear your husband. Okay,
I'm going to scream.
Carol, I need to hear what your husband said. When you were driving in the car, once you got in the car, I'm driving, I said, oh my God, I'm going to be in a film. I mean, what
a major movie too. It's not just a
movie, but what went through your mind in that moment right after you left that room, and then when reality sinks in your system?
Well, it's unbelievable. You're shaking. You're just screaming. You just can't believe it because it's not the everyday.
Of course not.
It's not the everyday you get to be in a movie.
No.
And to have a speaking role. And so when I did my speaking role in September, they filmed outside of Austin.
Do you remember what the day? There was in the weekend. You said, right? The time?
It was a Wednesday in September.
Okay.
They came and picked us up. Now let me tell you the deal.
In a limousine?
No.
Oh, okay.
A van.
Oh, come on, Carol. You don't need it. Come on. It doesn't matter. Come on.
But I was treated like Princess Diana. I mean, you know,
Beautiful.
the production assistants,
yeah.
the production assistants, are you okay? Do you need something to drink? You know, is the air conditioner on cool enough?
Oh.
You know, let me help you with this, and you know, all of this. And I had to walk under a tree to get to my place where I was going to be filmed, and there were limbs hanging down, and they were cutting them as I was walking under the tree.
Like the Queen Elizabeth.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
And I thought, man, this is cool.
It's nice to be treated like a queen.
Yeah.
Okay, keep
And
going.
so I did my lines, and we did them several times. And I was scared. It was my very first time. When I taught
course.
school the very first time, I was nervous. And when I was a social worker for the very first time, I was nervous. But you know,
You're a social worker as well. We didn't mention that in the beginning.
Yes,
You are.
I was a social
You are.
worker at one time, and then I'm a teacher. I teach adult education, and so I teach adults. And you know, if I'm going to live to be 85 or 90 years old, why not just go on and start a new career? Why not?
Why not?
I think
They need
that's
older
They're
people in
gorgeous.
movies.
Carol, it's about reality. People want to see real people,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yes,
This
yes.
is not, times have changed, and thank God for that. We want to see honesty and truth and reality because people can relate to truth,
Yes.
right? And you got it. Number one, you're striking, you're beautiful. And those blue eyes, I got to tell you, now I know how you got looked up your husband for how many years?
35.
I can't hear you.
35
Okay,
years.
all right. So
Well, he likes red hair. My
he
husband.
loves red hair.
He does.
I want to. This is not. I mean, I want to hear like, you know, the day of the set when you, the first moment, the first hour when you were shooting, like in terms of direction, in terms of the assistant director addressing to you, what kind of notes you got? Do you remember specifically
Well,
how the director?
He wanted me to talk like a normal person.
Right.
My lines are not funny necessarily. This movie is a dark comedy.
How many? Do you remember? Do you got an email with your sides? Or you didn't when you got your
do you mean?
lines, when they send you an email saying, okay, this
Yes,
is your
my lines. Uh-huh.
Right,
I know
okay.
what my lines
So you had
were.
a chance to study them and to work with
Yes,
them.
I did. I
And
studied
you did it
them
by
and
yourself?
I memorized. Yes,
Okay, impressive.
I did.
Okay,
I learned lines.
Okay.
But you know, I was a little bit nervous. You know, but I think the more I do it, I'm going to get better.
Of course.
Just
You're
like
not bragging,
with
you're
anything
just saying,
else.
but I
Just
can
with
see it.
anything else,
It's a technique
And I
too.
think it's fun.
Yes.
I think it's a fun thing. It's kind of like teaching in a way, and I like being of service. So I think that if I was given a chance, I think I could do it.
Certainly you deserved it.
And so I look at it also as the educational part of it. It was such a learning experience. And when we went down in October to do the courtroom scenes, then that's
exciting.
where I saw
That's
Jack
exciting.
Black and Matthew McConaughey, and I could see
I will
them
faint.
work. And that was just so interesting.
Did you get to see Shirley MacLaine?
I did not get to meet her or see her because I did not do the church scenes.
I see.
She was for extras. They did church scenes with her,
Right.
and I was not there in that part.
But the court scenes, which are very difficult to do, it's a lot of work involved.
And they did tell us how to react and
Right.
And
Everything
they
is
did
staged.
zoom in.
Every single detail is
Uh-huh.
pretty much, set up. And it's like it takes hours to get it done right.
But to watch professional actors act and to see how they did it, and they do the scenes, 10 times. You know that you being an actor yourself.
Yes.
They do the scenes over and over and over, and so you have to be a real patient person.
Yes.
But it's just so interesting. I think it's fascinating. I think it's fun.
And what happened when you went home after that day?
Well, everybody in Tyler, Texas knows I'm going to be in this.
Oh, I'm so excited! That's what I want to hear. This is a big. Okay, guys, forget about the formalisms. Okay? This is something big.
Uh-huh.
Come
I mean,
on.
everybody-
I feel like
Everybody in
this
the
is
bank,
big.
all my students, you know, everybody I work in a huge building. Everybody in the building knows.
Everybody, your
You know.
pictures everywhere. I tell you this much. Okay, your picture's gonna be, and I'm not exaggerating. I know I'm a little too much, but I'm not drunk. Okay, your picture should be big. You know why? Because, like you said, you don't make movies every single day. You know how hard it is for an actor, working actor, trained actor, experienced background training, to get a gig. You know how difficult that is. I would say it's like, I don't know, swimming against the ocean. That's how difficult it is. And for you to get a speaking role like that.
Yeah.
So what's next? What are you gonna do next?
I am open.
Oh, that's what I want to hear.
I'm open.
Of course, you should be. This is a great opportunity for you. Everybody's gonna see your work. You're gonna see, oh, well, this great actor, Matthew McConaughey. I cannot stop thinking
Three
about
big
it.
ones.
And Jack Black, Sheila McLean. When the movie's gonna come out?
In the fall.
In the fall.
Sometime
Okay, now
in
the
the fall.
director. What's the name of the director again?
Richard Linklater.
Okay, I'm not familiar with his work.
He did School of Rock.
Oh, well, okay, I got
See,
it. Okay,
so,
okay.
And he also had done a previous movie with Matthew McConaughey, Dazed and Confused. That was back in the early 90s.
And Time to Kill. Remember Matthew McConaughey in Time to Kill? Remember that?
Yes.
Come here, I hear you so quiet. I want to hear your voice. You're killing me. I need an M&M. Oh, I'm not supposed to say it because they're not our sponsors, right? Oh, forget it. Come here, get to. Carol, I gotta break the rules a little bit. You gotta be able to. You have to have fun because if not, I mean, come on. Carmen, what do you think about your mother's experience?
I think this is so neat because, you know, like I live up here and she's still living in Texas, and so it was fun for me to hear the updates.
Yeah.
And when she was initially telling me about it, you know, oh, they're making a movie about this. I'm like, that's neat, you know. Oh, I got a call back. I thought, that's cool. And then she was like, no, it's like Richard Linklater and Matthew McConaughey. And I was like, oh, this is kind of a big deal.
You see? Of course.
I was like, oh. So I kind of got nervous after the fact, you know, because she's telling me she's meeting with all these directors and all this, and I'm thinking, oh, you know, it's probably some independent film or,
Yeah,
you know.
people say, is this an independent film? I'll say no.
But, you know.
And see, where I work, there is a huge movie complex across the street from the building where I work. And I said, I'm going to be in that movie theater.
Oh, Carol. Absolutely,
Yeah.
but you see, independent films, thank God the world is changing quick and fast. You know, independent films are becoming extremely powerful. And you know that as a producer. I mean, actors everywhere. There's a need to communicate, to write. And there is exquisite talent everywhere. And independent films are becoming more and more and more and more powerful. And thank God Robert Redford, who back in the 70s, he started to say, you know what about this guy? He had a great idea. What about that guy? Oh, why would it be that guy who's writing a script? You know, and I guess that things are changing so fast.